Is your technical documentation inconsistent? And does it sound different depending on who writes it? Does it feel like something is wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it? A technical writing style guide is the solution you are looking for. Adopting a style guide is a great way to ensure consistency in a team. A style guide will also help you stay consistent over time, even if you are a sole writer. The challenge, however, is how to enforce the style guide. That's where Vale comes in. Vale is a linter that automatically checks your documentation against a style guide of your choice. Welcome to the third video in our tutorial series on getting started with Vale. In the previous videos, we covered how to install Vale and how to use it in the terminal, in VSCode, and with GitHub Actions. This video will explore configuring Vale using the Google Developer Documentation Style Guide. Furthermore, we'll look at how to create your own custom rules. Let's get started. If you'd like a free PDF summary of this video, you can download it using the link in the description below. Okay, so we start off in the terminal. Just open your favorite terminal application and type in the following commands. We're gonna do git clone, and we're gonna clone the Vale boilerplate repository. You can find the link in a free PDF that is a companion to this video with all the commands that we're using. So we're going to clone the Vale boilerplate. After we're done with that, we're going to clone another repository. And this one contains the style guide that we want to use, the Google Developer Documentation Style Guide. So that's going to be cloned as well. Okay, that's done. Next, let's head to File Explorer. Okay, so here are the folders that we just downloaded. If you go into the Vale boilerplate, you'll see that we have the styles directory. And inside we have Microsoft, vocab, and WriteGood. These are style guides that are already configured with Vale. These are the default style guides. So what we want to do is to go back to our parent folder into this doxysite folder and inside styles. And here we'll find other style guides. They're the same ones, WriteGood, vocab, and Microsoft, but there's additional ones, including the Google Developer Documentation Style Guide. So what we want to do is to cut this file, or you can just copy. I think it's better to copy. And Vale boilerplate in the styles inside Vale boilerplate, and we want to paste this in. So this means we have the Google styles in Vale, available for use in Vale. So next is we want to open VSCode. We want to go back to the parent directory. I'm going to right click and open the folder in VSCode. So you can see the folder is here. We have the two folders that we're working in on the top level. And you can see that style we added, and it's highlighted in green because we just added that. So this is Git working. Okay, so we want to go to extensions. And here we want to search for the Vale extension. So we're going to search for the Vale extension there. And you can click on that. And we want to click this button here, install. You want to make sure that this is the Vale extension from Errata AI. So let's install that extension. Okay, now that our extension has been installed, let's configure it. So we want this little cog icon, that little gear icon. We're going to click on it and then go to extension settings. You want to make sure that you're on the user tab. And under the user settings, we want to make sure that this config is set to the folder that has our boilerplate. This is already configured, so that's good. Next, we want to set the minimum alert level. We want to make sure that it's set to inherited here in the dropdown, which it is. And then we want to make sure here that the Vale CLI path is set to the word Vale, V-A-L-E. Next, go under workspace. And you want to make sure that the Vale CLI config is set to the Vale boilerplate directory. So the same one here. So I'm just going to copy it and go to workspace and paste that in. Again, we want the minimum alert level to be set to inherited. And finally, we also want the CLI path to also be Vale. So we're going to paste that in. And as you make these modifications, Visual Studio Code will save the settings. So next, you want to restart VS Code, and we'll do that by simply closing the application and then opening it once more. And you should see the settings persist, and that is the case. So that means we were successful in configuring the settings for the Vale extension in VS Code. Next, we want to go inside the Vale boilerplate folder, and we want to edit vale.ini. This is the config file. So here, we want to add the Google and Microsoft style guides. As you can see, you can actually use multiple style guides at the same time. So here we're using the defaults, and we've also added the Microsoft and Google style guides. So press Ctrl S. Now that we have Vale configured, let's create a test file and give it a test run. So we'll come here, open a new file. Let's call it test.md because it's written in Markdown. And I'm going to paste in some sample text. Once again, you can access the sample text in the free PDF companion to this video. I've pasted the sample text. Now I'm going to press Ctrl S to save, or Command S on a Mac. Okay, so after pasting in the sample text, you can see here we have these yellow squiggly lines where there are various suggestions from Vale. So for example, here we're being told that our stuck may be passive voice, and this is coming from WriteGood. You can see here we're being told to use email without a hyphen, and this is coming from the Google Style Guide in its word list. Microsoft Style Guide is advising us to use doesn't instead of does not. So you can see here our custom style guides are working as expected. So a quick recap, what you have to do is you have to go to styles and copy in the folder that contains the rules for that particular style guide. And then you go to vale.ini and include your intended style guide in the based on styles property here. Okay, that's great. Now let's take a look at how we can create our own custom rules. In order to create our own custom style guide, let's go here to the styles folder, and we want to create a new folder there, and let's call it the DocWrite style guide. Okay, and inside this folder, let's create a new file, and then we'll call our new file custom rules.yaml. Okay, we've created this style. Now let's go back to vale.ini and let's include this as our style guide. So maybe we want to get rid of everything and just leave the doc write style guide. Okay, let's make sure to press Ctrl S to save or Command S on a Mac. And let's head back to our custom rules. We've created our custom rules.yaml file. And next, we want to paste in this example rule. Again, you can find this in the PDF accompanying this video, which you can download in the link below. So here's our custom rule. It's a substitution rule, so we are extending that existing rule. And this is the message that's going to be displayed on the screen where it says use this instead of that. And this and that being the various values that we're going to be showing below here. So this is going to present a warning rather than an error. We are going to ignore case sensitivity. And here we have this comment here that's explaining that it's going to swap the different tokens in the form of, here's the bad one that we're going to say don't use, and here's the good one, which we're saying use this instead of the bad one. So here are the swap rules that we are enforcing. So we want to make sure that people write document write in Pascal case, capitalizing the first word and every subsequent word instead of having it as all small caps. We want to make sure that Vale is always capitalized, and we don't want website and email that use hyphens. So we want the user to not use the hyphens. So I'm going to save this file. And after saving that file, I'm going to go back to my test.md. But it still has the old rules, and I suppose it's because the new rules haven't been loaded. So let's restart VSCode. So I'm going to close it. And after reopening VSCode, you can see that we have this error for email, right? Even though in our vale.ini, we are only using our style guide. So it's not coming from anywhere else. So here I have document write written the way that we wanted. So if I rewrite this, and save the file, you'll see immediately upon saving, Vale will run again, and it's going to tell us to use document write in Pascal case instead of document write in small caps. If I try the same thing with Vale with a small letter V, again, this is indicated that we have to use Vale capitalized versus Vale small caps. So that's how you can create your own custom rules. So this is a very simple example where we are implementing a swap for 4 different rules where we want the user to substitute one word for the other. So essentially, a style guide is just a collection of all of these rules that end up enforcing an existing style guide. So let's actually investigate this. If we go into our styles folder, let me close this. If we go into our styles folder and inside the Microsoft style guide, you'll see that that's exactly what it is. It is a collection of many different YAML files that enforce different rules. So for example, if we click on avoid.yaml, you'll see here it extends the existence rule where it gives you a message and it says don't use X, whatever the word is, and they actually link to the style guide to explain those rules. And here we are ignoring case, and it's throwing an actual error rather than a warning. And these are the forbidden words, so to say. So if you use any of these words with the Microsoft style guide, it'll throw an error. So let's actually test that. Let's copy this as well as, let's go back to our Vale configuration. And let's make sure that we are using Microsoft. Right, let's save this. Let's go back to our test file. And let's add as well as here. Again, it's still enforcing the old rules, even after I save. Okay, I save, and then now it starts enforcing the Microsoft rules. So it says use doesn't instead of does not, and it tells us not to use as well as, right? And this is under, it says Microsoft.avoid, right? If you click that, it will attempt to lead you to the link. So I'm gonna just cancel that. So as you can see, this is the link that's here, and it says don't use that, and as well as is part of the list of the forbidden words. So it's very simple to create very powerful rules that can help you enforce an entire style guide. I want to show you one more thing, and for that, let's head to the browser. I'm on the website vale.sh/docs/topic/styles. And here, the documentation explains the different extension points that you can implement. So we've seen existence and we worked with it. You can see there are some consistency rules. So this is a great reference that you can use to create your own custom rules to enforce your organization's style guide. All right, that wraps it up for our 3-part series on getting started using Vale. We covered how to install Vale on Linux, Windows, and Mac, and how to use Vale in the terminal, in VSCode, and with the GitHub Actions. Today, we finished off with implementing a third-party style guide and creating your own custom rules. You're now ready to supercharge your technical writing using Vale. Join us next week where we publish another video on technical writing. See you then. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. See you in the next video.